Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd show you how to make beef bone broth the carnivore way, and let's jump straight into it. So guys, let's talk about the benefits. The main reason personally I use it's because it promotes a healthy gut microbiome. Then the research says it can improve joint pain and support skin health because it contains a lot of collagen, minerals, stuff like that. And there's also some research saying that the bones may contain lead, so I mean, source a good animal bones, and also make sure to use clean water. You can also use it for cooking. I have a friend who uses it for cooking rice. I'm a carnivore, so I don't do that, but I'm sure that tastes great. And usually after making a batch, I drink the bone broth like a cup of tea before every meal, and makes wonders, man. Trust me, you need to try this. So before we do anything else, we put the oven on 200 or 225 degrees. Doesn't make a big difference, but yeah, we're gonna roast the bones to add a better flavor. And while the oven is heating up, I have prepared some filtered water with this clearly filtered water filter. Then we want to take the bones and just rinse them in not hot water, but lukewarm, a little bit hot. You need to think beforehand, like how much will your container fill. I have a crock pot and I know about how much it can take. And ideally I fill it as much as I can, and then with the water as well. Another thing to mention is this is beef marrow bones, alright? You can see the bone marrow inside here. But the thing we're after, we want as much of this connective tissue as possible. So when I'm in the store, I look for preferably the pieces with a lot of muscle left on it, because if there's muscle, that usually means, at least for me, that there's a lot of connective tissue left. You can use knuckle bones and you can use every bone, but even if you make ribs, you can save and freeze the bones and you can make a bone broth with them. But I use this because it's the only bones I can find. Also, I like to use the bone marrow because it contains a lot of nutrients and fat, and I'll show you later what I do with that. And you should let them be in here for around 20 minutes, but the most important thing is the color. It's supposed to be golden brown, so look out for that. Alright guys, 20 minutes have passed. Time flies here on YouTube, innit? So the next step is removing the bone marrow from the bones, because you don't want those in your bone broth. So you can eat it like after you take it out of the oven, but I prefer to save it, so I have one of these glass bottles which I've cleaned out. But the bones are really hot, guys. You need to wait for them to cool down. You're gonna burn yourself, alright? Alright guys, the bones I think are cool enough to handle, but I don't have the patience to wait any longer than 15 minutes, so they can still be a little bit hot. You need some kind of tool for these kind of marrow bones, because the marrow is inside of the bones. You could buy marrow bones that have been sliced all the way through, and that would be way easier. They don't have that in my store, so I don't, yeah, this is harder, but it works. But yeah, I have to be a little bit careful because it can still be hot, and I'll just poke and try to remove all the marrow. This kind of spoon is great because, as you can see here, the hole is very small and I can use it. It's a multi-purpose spoon basically. And you need to be careful because inside the bone here sometimes they have bones who are formed like needles and you don't want to poke yourself. If you lay your hands on the tissue, it's not as hot as on the bones. Oh my, you're gonna be greasy guys, so it's gonna be slippery. That's just how it is. So if you like the taste of the marrow, you could just eat it. Salt it and eat it while it's fresh. I used to do that, but I ate so much and I got sick. And I wasn't hungry for 36 hours, and that's why currently I just freeze it and I use it for cooking because that masks the taste. I don't like the tastes anymore. I'm pretty traumatized after I ate a full bowl of marrow fat. The problem with these bones, like I said, you have to go digging, and because they are like, the bone is sealing the marrow, some of the bone marrow is not gonna be cooked like this here, but for me it doesn't matter because I'm gonna use it in the cooking pan later. And I'm not too worried if some of it doesn't come out, that's okay. It's supposed to be like this golden yellowish if you wanna eat it after baking it in the oven. So this part has those needle kind of things going right through it, so it's hard to get it out. I'm not too worried about getting everything. Like you can see, I already have a lot here on my plate, but I can show you here. This is like, here is the needle kind of thing. You can see my hands are very greasy. I need to go wash them, then I'll be back. As you can see guys, this is a great amount of fat. You don't want to throw this away. This is calories and nutrients for days, I'm telling you. And this is how much I ate, like in one sitting. Because I did not want to throw it away, I didn't want to freeze it, but I learned my lesson the hard way. Now I don't like the taste anymore and I have to freeze it. So I'll grab a spoon to help me fill this, and I'll use this for mostly when I cook eggs. I usually make scrambled eggs, and then I also have some butter in it, and you won't really taste the marrow, but you'll get all the nutrients and the fat. As you can see guys, I filled half of this. This was 680 grams of sauerkraut. I don't know, but this is like a whole pack of butter, like 500 grams maybe. You don't want to throw this away, man. So I'll just put this in the freezer and use it when I need it. So after extracting the bone marrow, just take your bones, place them in your crock pot, or if you have a normal big pot, but I would really recommend using a crock pot. It makes the whole process way easier, man. I have done it on the stove, but yeah, you need to kind of watch it all the time, and that's not really practical. So you kind of have to play a little bit of Tetris when you do this to make them all fit. Yeah, that's perfect. As you can see, we have a lot of fat left. We don't want to waste this either. This fat mainly consists of tallow, I think, and also some bone marrow. Usually I just pour this into the pot. And if you're like me and you don't want to miss anything, you could fill this with water. It will help the cleaning process, but also get some of that fat. A lot of the fat is still left here, but you can just take a spoon and scrape everything. See, it didn't look like a lot in the beginning, but this is quite a bunch of tallow. Now, I don't need to be too picky. You need to fill your pot, not with the lid, but as much as you can. This is a good amount for me. See, it's close here. And you need to add salt. And plenty of salt. It helps extract the nutrients out of it. This is Erba Mare, organic sea salt with some herbs, and if you're a hardcore carnivore, you could use Himalayan pink salt or another quality salt. I prefer this one because it makes it taste slightly better. Now, you wanna put your crock pot on high. You can see this is high because the 3 lines, this has 2. And you wanna put it on high until it's boiling, which usually takes around 3 hours. Then you put it to low like this, and I'll show you that later. Another thing people sometimes like to do is add some apple cider vinegar to their bone broth. I've never done it, but apparently it's supposed to... The acid helps extract some more nutrients into the broth, but it's not necessary. I've never done it. My broth is still good, so that's up to preference. The best way for keeping track of time using a crock pot is use the built-in timer. So this one only goes up to 20 hours. Alright, it's supposed to be cooking around 24 hours, so after I come back when it's boiling, I'll just up this again to the maximum, and that way I keep track of time. Alright, it's been a bit over 3 hours now, and as you can see, it's come to a hard boil, but we're gonna put it on low because it's actually supposed to be simmering after the hard boil. So if you do not have a slow cooker, make sure it gets to a hard boil, and then lower the temperature until it's simmering, and just leave it for around 24 hours. Some people do less, some people do more, but I find 24 hours to be the perfect. And as you can see right here, the bones are supposed to be covered in water, so I'm gonna fill it as much as I can without the risk of it boiling over. As you can see now, when I have filled the water, it has stopped simmering, so it's important that you keep on checking if you have to fill, because if you fill up too much water, then it will stop simmering, and it's gonna take a long time to get going again. So Okay guys, it's almost been 24 hours now and it's time to finish this off. First I'll just use the spoon to fish these out, the bones, and they're very hot. They've been cooking for one whole day, so do not touch them. Okay, the spoon was not a great choice. Let's use the fork. So the last part, you just filter out these bits and pieces. You can either eat them, throw them away, or do like me, I'm gonna use them for scrambled eggs. I don't like throwing it away, but it's too slimy to eat raw. Finally, we're gonna take all of this into the mason jar. So just a bonus here guys, this is the bone marrow I did yesterday straight from the freezer, and I'll show you. So you can just take the fork in here and press it and it easily comes off. Right, then just... Now we're gonna let this cool off and I'll show you the results afterwards. Alright, here's the finished product, and let me show you how it's supposed to be, the consistency. Some people, they separate the tallow and they use it for cooking or whatever, store it in the refrigerator, but I prefer to take pieces of it when I heat up my my bone broth. So the consistency is supposed to be very gelatinous, as you can see here. Usually mine is more like jelly. It's more how do you say it? This is a little bit more watery than what I'm used to. I don't know why that happened. Maybe it needed a couple of more hours or more salt, but this is still good. But yeah, you'll just have to find what works for you. Alright, so the final chapter of this long video is how do you store it? Well, if you search online, they're gonna tell you that bone broth can store in the fridge around 3 to 4 days before it's spoiled. I have drank broth that's been in the refrigerator for I don't know, 5 days, and that was no problem at all for me. But don't take my word for it, you have to check yourself, so do it at your own risk. I'm no doctor, but this is 1 cup, so usually I will finish this in 4 days easily. But if you do more or you drink it less frequently, then you can store it in the freezer. That's no problem at all. Just find some container that works for you and your freezer. Anyways guys, thank you for watching if you got this far, and I hope you enjoy your bone broth. Please do leave a like, comment and subscribe if you did enjoy, and if this information was valuable to you. And with that said, thank you, and I'll see you